Welcome in. You already know what time it is. Alex Kleininger in the building. Let's dive into the Nexus. Let's dive into the Nexus, step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their home. From the pages to the labs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus. Yeah, the mic stay reckless. Hometown justice, legends in the message. Casey Yokin's on the trail, solving cases non-stop. Turn it up loud, yeah, the Nexus don't stop. We talk plot twists, characters, theories. Author Q&A, getting answers you've been hearing. Special guests slide through, pull up a seat. Chaotic conversations with the Carolina heat. From small town drama to the mysteries deep. Every chapter got secrets we're ready to keep. Laughs laid back with the energy wild. If you read Kleininger, you already family now. Let's dive into the Nexus, step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their own. From the pages to the labs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus, come and connect us. Alex Kleininger live, yeah, you rockin' with the Nexus. Hit play, stay tuned. Every episode fresh. Welcome to the Carolina Nexus. Brought to you straight from Carolina soil. Press play and let's dive in.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Carolina Nexus. This is Tuesday night. This is Carolina Nexus After Dark, which means we are discussing characters. But before we jump in, I have several announcements to make. Number one, I want to remind everybody about the Carolina Nexus Hometown Justice Hostile book cover contest. It is still going on until May 31st. Submit your book cover. It'll be judged, and then I'll let the final four be judged by the fans of Carolina Nexus. You have until the 31st of May to submit your entry to me at the Carolina Nexus at gmail.com so the judging team can see it. With that being said, I already have 10 entries. I'm excited. These things are heating up, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait until you guys send me more. I enjoy looking at these things. I wish I could show them on screen, but I can't until they are all submitted, and then eventually I'm going to go through and show everybody what happened, which ones were chosen, not chosen, which ones were submitted after the winner has been chosen and received their gift. Remember, it is for an unsigned, unedited copy of Hometown Justice Hostile with the Amazon Kindle rough draft cover, a signed copy with the winning cover, and a letter of authentication from me for you guys to cherish and hold on to. I'm excited about this. It's something I can't wait to do. And I've been saying I was going to do it since I started the podcast. I tried to run a competition before, and because I was asking people to pay to enter, it didn't work out. So this time there's no entry fee. Just your hard work is all I need. So if you know somebody that does Photoshop or is a really good artist and want to get their work out there, this is a way to do it. I love giving back to the community, and this is one way I can do it. Second, May 23rd, TCW presents Destiny, and Foothills Championship Wrestling is also running a show that night. I'm torn. I need to be at TCW. They've been a longtime supporter of the Carolina Nexus, but I also want to see the first card by Foothill Championship Wrestling. I have that night off. I'm going to do my absolute very best to be at least one of those shows, and right now my money is leaning more towards TCW, because not only is TCW hosting Destiny at Shelby City Park, they are also hosting the wedding of Dump Truck and Jesse. You have to be there to see it. I'm going to try to be set up with the Carolina Nexus live during that show, interview some of the wrestlers. I'm going to do my best. I'm making no promises right now. Financially, I'm in a sort of a bind, so it's hard for me to do things like that. And yes, I wanted to be able to do more stuff like this, so once the money is right, I'll be doing more and more episodes from live on location situations. I have everything set up to be able to do them. I just have to be able to be there. That's the issue right now. Second thing, or third thing I need to talk about, May 16th, which is this coming Saturday, I'll be holding a very special Saturday morning episode of Carolina Nexus, and it's going to be talking all about Magic the Gathering, which is, if you know me, one of my favorite pastimes to do. I have two of my favorite Magic the Gathering content creators, King Luke and Squire Nate. They will be in studio discussing with us their favorite strategies, their favorite decks, their favorite card, colors, all that good stuff. If you have questions for King Luke and Squire Nate, bring them, ask them that day. We're dubbing it Magic the Gathering Night, even though it's taking place in the morning, because I suck at naming episodes, and that's how we're going to do it. Enough about that. Tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is the character discussion. And last night at the end of the live reading, we spun the wheel and we were given two amazing characters from the Casey Elkins book series that we're going to discuss tonight: Michael Martin and Trey Smith. I know some people out there have questions about these characters that have read either one of the Casey Elkins books, because Trey Smith is from the first book, The Idol, and Michael Martin is from the second book, The Daywalker. I know people have questions. I'm going to answer them tonight. But before we dive into that, I want to take time to stop the show and tell my little man Tyson I love him. Thank you for watching. He's watching with his mama right now. Without further ado, we're going to dive right into this episode of character discussions. Character discussions with. See, I told you, Amber and Tyson's watching right now. Discussing Michael Martin and Trey Smith. We're going to start with Trey Smith because he does appear in the very first Casey Elkins book, The Idol, a Casey Elkins investigation, which establishes Casey, her team, their location, and shows you pretty much what to expect from the series going forward. So, with that being said, Trey Smith is introduced midway through the Idol. He's the silverback of the local were gorilla population, so he's the leader. The other were gorillas listen to him. He becomes a nuisance for Casey and her team in their first outing, but is ultimately subdued. The reason is he's after the Idol of Lycoan, which, if you read the book, you'll understand the Idol of Lycoan. I've explained it on here several times. The Idol of Lycoan is based on the Greek mythology of King Lycoan, who was a Greek king who sought to fool the Greek gods, and he tried to feed Zeus human flesh, and as a result, Zeus caught him, so cursed King Lycoan to turn into a werewolf every full moon. And that was how werewolves were brought into existence. I took it a step further. Lycoan made an idol that empowered Lycans, and you could mind control them or you can make them stronger. And it was a very powerful artifact that RIPD, the Regional Investigation of Preternatural Crimes Department, thought they had locked up. Apparently they didn't. It was taken to the Blacksburg Museum, and from there it was stolen. That's the whole plot line of the first book for Casey Elkins. She has to retrieve this very powerful artifact that could bring chaos to the world. And if it was used on a normal human, it could turn them into a Lycan or worse. The or worse is never explained. It's to be left open intentionally. It is intentionally left open for the reader's interpretation of what the or worse could be. Casey and her team go after this idol. They retrieve it from the first bad guy. It's stolen back by Trey and his were gorillas, and there's a giant fight. Casey does her stuff, gets it back, and locks it away permanently this time. It cannot be stolen away. And then Trey is locked into the Null Void Chamber, which is a prison that Aiden built. Um, and it possesses Rye dampeners, which prevents the user or prevents the target from using their natural Rye. So Lycans can't transform into animal form. Energy manipulators like Casey and the Tygapagon trio, they can't manipulate it in the presence of these Rye dampeners. And vampires, which are introduced in the Daywalker of Casey Elkins, can't use their vampire Rye in the presence of this. So Rye is a life force energy, but it has a lot more to it if you read the Casey Elkins series. Um, I use the Casey Elkins series to explain more about the supernatural side of Rye, and then I use the Hometown Justice series to explain the martial arts mysticism side of Rye. Um, we'll get more of that later when we do a lore episode. This is a character discussion episode, so we're going to focus on the characters. Questions about Trey Smith, you want to bring them live right now into the comment section, I'll answer them. Let's see what you guys got for me before we start discussing Michael Martin. Amber says, why did Trey and the other weregorillas wait to the last half of the book to become a problem? Like, why now? Good question. And it's because of their nature. I did my research. Gorillas are peaceful creatures. They have to be provoked in order to get the anger. And for the most part, weregorillas are the same way. Trey ordered his weregorillas not to get involved with what was going on in the first half of the book. Try not to give away spoilers, so I'm speaking vaguely. I'm sorry, but Trey ordered them not to get involved with what was going on in the first half of the book. And then when they finally do get involved, it's because the idol's presence has corrupted Trey's mind, and therefore he is seeking power beyond power, and that is the whole gist of why he gets involved and becomes a problem. I hope that made sense, Amber. Thanks for the excellent question. Sorry, you guys. I'm having to respond to my editor. If you'll bear with me. I do not. Amber asked if we have AI pictures of Trey or of Michael, like I sometimes have. I do not. I've given up on AI generation of my characters because it always fails. I'm not paying for the generator to give me unlimited generator generations of pictures, and I don't have the patience to wait. So I do not. Sorry. This is a great question, but to fully understand the answer, I will answer this question again when we get to Michael Martin. But let's focus on Trey right now. We're only focusing on Trey right now. Nothing about Michael Martin again till I discuss Michael Martin. With that out of the way, um, Trey. In order to understand who Trey is based off of, that isn't somebody I know. I drew inspiration from several characters, really, um, but mainly the character of Chris Redfield in Resident Evil, um, but also with characteristics of Blanca from Street Fighter. It's like Chris Redfield is his human form, and Blanca from Street Fighter is the were gorilla form. That's the best way I can describe it. I will answer a question that Amber usually asks every episode about who they are based off of about Trey. Trey is based off my middle school, or not middle school, high school friend Trey Smith. Same name, same everything. I chose to make him a villain in the beginning simply because I had too many heroes, and you can't write a story with a bunch of heroes. You have to have villains. And when I discussed it with Trey about bringing him in to the villainous role, um, he told me he embraced it. He wanted it to be done. He wanted to see what I could do with the character. And to me, the author, the end product felt rushed. but everyone else that's read it has enjoyed the scenes with Trey in it, and I've even got one reader wanting me to bring Trey back as a villain, given his own arc. And I've thought about it several times. So there's a possibility Trey may make a return. As of right now, though, he's locked in the no void prison that Aiden built between book 1 and 2. No, he built it during book 1 and completed it between book 1 and 2. He built it during book 1 to house the two bad guys from the first book, which was Trey Smith and another character. So there's that. Now we're going to jump into Michael Martin here in just a second. We're jumping into that now. Focusing on Michael Martin. His official character name is Maestro Michael Martin the Fourth. I left the fourth out because I didn't feel like giving a whole bunch of backstory on him in the beginning. I figured I'd save that for a lore episode. But here we are. Maestro Michael Martin is the highest ranked vampire you could get according to the RIPD at the time of the writing. And a maestro is basically a master. My wife just asked one more question about Tracy. We're going to take time to answer that real quick. She says, but will Trey ever get a redemption arc? No, he will not get a redemption arc because, again, I have too many heroes in the story. And if I redeem all of them, it turns into a glorified Dragon Ball Z, and I don't want that. I will, however, say he may make a return. There are plans for him to make a return in Casey Elkins as a bad guy. So be on the lookout for that. Now, back to Michael Martin. A Maestro is a power level in nerd terms of Dragon Ball Z. It's really just the highest power level you can take your Rai to. And it means you can control other people within your designated region. As Maestro, Michael was supposed to control all vampires within the Carolinas. And he did for centuries before the Daywalker took place. Kept them hidden. RIPD didn't know they existed. And then he gets power hungry, as all evil villains do. He got power hungry. And he wanted what he thought was deity level power, and in reality it was weakening a seal holding a primordial being in it. That's an overarching plot thread that I'm working into the books. For all intents and purposes, Michael Martin is everything that you would want from a vampire character. He's insanely attractive to all the females except for Casey, because Casey just doesn't care about your vampire being drop dead gorgeous. Casey doesn't care how sexy you look. She doesn't care about those elements in what she considers preternatural creatures. But all the other females in the story are insatiably enthralled by his appearance. I modeled him after a character written by Laurel K. Hamilton, Jean-Claude. And that's where some of his mannerisms come from. He is the redneck version of Jean-Claude. And for those of you that don't know, Jean-Claude in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series by Laurel K. Hamilton, he's an ally, lover, sometimes enemy of Laurel K. Hamilton's Anita Blake. Well, I took all of that ally, lover bullshit away and made him simply a villain. He wants to rid the earth of mortals. And in context, mortals includes lichens, humans, anything that doesn't live forever. And that was his plan. That's what he thought by gaining this deity level energy or power up was going to give him, was the ability to eliminate all human life, all lichen life. And he went about it wrong. Michael was governed by something called the Council of 13, and though that council had very strict rules in place, he broke every single one of them. They sent someone after him, and that someone wound up helping Casey and her team subdue Michael and locking him in prison. Um, Without giving too much away, that's what happened essentially. There's a lot more to the story than what I just told you, so you have to check out the Daywalker, the Casey Elkins investigation, to figure out exactly what that was. But the Council of 13, or the 13th Fang, respect RIPD and what happens during the investigation. So there's a mutual agreement. Vampires make a comeback after being thought to be extinct for centuries. Um, Casey herself laughs when Kivo says that vampires are real. So there's that. Literally just answered this question for Trey. Michael is a big bad. He will not get a redemption arc because I have too many redemptions arcs. I'm not trying to make a glorified Dragon Ball Z here. There will not be a redemption arc for Michael as far as him being a good guy. There may be an attempted redemption arc where he comes back as a villain. Da 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 da. I don't know. I haven't figured it out for Michael yet. As of right now, no, there is no plans for that. But the floor is open for questions about Michael Martin now. This is a very easy question to answer, and I love answering this question. The vampires were in hiding because RIPD hunted them um, for sport. And I'm going to write a side, like a history of that, into the next book dealing with vampires. But there was a RIPD vampire hunting club that hunted every vampire in the United States out of existence. There was too many, according to these people. They thought they were doing the right thing. They didn't realize that vampires were actual people with a hunger for blood. They didn't realize vampires could do better than they were doing at that time. And this took place in the 1800s. So it was before Casey's time. However, the person that trained Casey, Mick Parker, Mick's an old person, and he lived through the last part of the vampire hunts. So I think when I write the history, I'm going to give it from Mick's point of view and let him explain to Casey what happened. Miss Blue, if you're watching, we're talking about some of the characters from your favorite series. If you want to ask some questions, go right ahead. I understand if you're not, though. I know you got other things going on, so don't hesitate to chime in later with questions. I love answering questions. Answer it, Amber. Come on, ask the dang question. Don't just tell me you have one. Ask it. Very good question. Very good question. Who all was in the Null Void Chamber prison that Aiden built? An unnamed villain from the first book that I'm not going to reveal on the show because you either have to read the book or wait till we discuss him on the show. Trey Smith and Michael Martin. That's the only three people they've put in there so far. And the reason they did is because of the rye dampeners and Casey feeling that they need to be somewhere they could be controlled. That is why. Ty, I love you, buddy. I'm getting ready to cut this stream short. I don't have any more questions coming in. I've got stuff I got to get done before I go to bed for work tomorrow. So if you guys don't have any more questions off the top of the dome, already prepared, or anything like that, let me remind you that next Monday, 7 p.m., we're reading chapter 7 and 8 of Tygapagon. But before then, this Saturday, 11 a.m., King Luke, Squire Nate, dropping by for Magic the Gathering night on the Carolina Nexus. We're going to do it big. We're going to talk about our favorite cards, our favorite tribes, our favorite spells, synergies, and all that good stuff. We're going to bring it right to the open screen. You guys show up with your Magic the Gathering questions for us to answer. We're going to have a great time doing it. I can't wait. I'm excited. And I hope all of my Magic the Gathering play groups can tune in for this episode and ask their questions as well. So without further ado, no, Amber, we don't spin the wheel until the end of Monday's episode now. We do it on Monday at the end of that episode so we know what characters we're talking about on Tuesday. But anyways, and without further ado, you guys have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Tune in Saturday at 11 a.m. We'll see you there.